Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and anybody else who is joining us tonight. Welcome to today's Sheffield United Way match reaction for Sheffield United's 1-1 draw with Luton Town. Now, I will address the elephant in the room first. I am not in good nick. For some of you, that may be a bad thing. For some of you, it may be a good thing. But if I were you, I'd just watch to the end and then you can find out. So I'm just going to jump straight into the action with the main talking point from today's game. And Ollie McBurney has scored a goal for Sheffield United. And oh, what a finish it was. What a moment it was. It was great to see his emotion. It was great to see all of the players, all of the fans getting in there with him. Hopefully that is massive, because for me, I really felt he deserved that goal on Saturday, but it just wasn't coming. It's so good that he's finally got it tonight. He's off and running and he's started. What a moment. Brilliant. We'll get more into that, though, slightly later on. Overall thoughts on the game? I think that's a decent point for United today. You know, we've been on quite a poor run of form away. I think today takes it to 2 wins in our last 12. So it is something that's a concern. We do need to start trying to work on that and turning it around. But in a scrappy game tonight, one where we're up against a team who are physical, who are big, strong, they were really at it right from the start. And they're the kind of team that we don't like playing against. Our team is not built for the battle in quite the same way that they are. And so to come out with a point, really, that on the balance play, we probably did just about deserve, but I would say they were slightly the better team on the night. I will take that. I will take that and run. So before we get into those detailed breakdowns of what happened in the game, I have 3 key considerations that I think are really important for us to go through that are my main takeaways from tonight's game. Now, the first one, big negative, is the injuries. Now, they are just piling up again. How are we here again? After last season, how have we got more and more injuries just coming and coming and coming? Before the game starts, we get the news that Kadra's out, hopefully just a knock. Hopefully he'll be back soon. We then get the news that John Fleck has potentially, sounds like he's fractured his leg. That could be a long one, and that's a really big miss. That means that the Man City lads have got to step up. They've got to jump into our midfield, and they've really got to start making us tick. Then we get into the game, and you think, right, well, we've already had our bad injury news. What else is there? And then we see more come in. So Wes has gone off. Hopefully that's just a little bit of sickness. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. We should get an update, I think. And I don't think that'll be anything that's too significant long term, hopefully. And then we see Norrington Davis also look like he's struggling with an injury. He'd gone down the wing, he'd slid in with one of theirs, took a little bit of a knock, it seemed, and it was bothering him. And so he has come off, hopefully, again, just a precaution, nothing for us to worry about. But the injuries piling up like this is obviously a big concern. The second key takeaway I had was the midfield. It's building on that injury to Fleck. And I think first off, we really struggled through our midfield. I think when McAtee's come in, I thought he was really poor tonight. But I think part of the issue we've got is how it affects the structure of our team. Sander Berge is so effective going forwards. He's so effective pushing onto their defence. That when he drops deeper into that midfield too, it really does cause a bit of an issue for us. We lose some of our focus. We lose some of our aggressiveness. And it just leaves us a little bit lacking. I thought really positively, it did get better second half. Doyle looked to make a really good impact. And I think for me, that's our starting midfield now. If Fleck is out, going to see Doyle, going to see Berger, going to see Norwood. Hopefully, that's the way things are going forwards. And then just to come back to it, Ollie McBurney scored for United today. You know, more than 40 games. You're talking almost 2 years. And that is massive. That's going to be huge for us. Because if he can get going, he can keep playing well as he has done these last 2 games. It's just going to be huge. So, into the game and what actually happened tonight. So, we didn't start fantastically. You know, it felt as though we were looking to come out of the blocks quick. But Luton really did press us, really did get themselves into the game with a really high energy performance. You know, they had the first effort on goal 3 minutes in. You've then got 10 minutes in, we're losing. And it's quite a poor goal to concede from our perspective. They've got a long throw on the wing. We've headed it away. They've got the ball back to the thrower, and we've just left him to put that cross in the box. There's nobody running to him to press him. I think it's Baldock and McAtee. McAtee's stuck between two. He probably makes the right decision to stick with his man because he doesn't want to give another option. But Baldock has got to be just powering out to that wing to stop that cross coming in our box. We're playing against a team with two massive centre forwards. They are huge. They're everything they've got. Their entire game plan is to get the ball in the box, to header, to attack, to try and get chances on goal. And so when we're just letting them deliver it from that right wing, it's really quite sloppy on our perspective. You've then got Morris completely unmarked in the box, and he does a beautiful finish. It's a great header from him, but again, it's sloppy from us. We've just left him. You know, Basham's took a couple of steps back to try and look over his shoulder. He's not called anybody in to pick him up, and he's just left him free, middle of our box, to score an absolutely fantastic header. That has to be clear. It was a great header, but we've just got to tighten up on that sort of defence. At Bramall Lane, it feels like that's not a mistake or a goal that we concede. We are so much more organised, and we need to carry that forward with us into our away games. That felt like it had knocked us a bit, if I'm being honest. We did start to get into the game after that. We were trying to find our rhythm. We'd spent 10 minutes playing the way Luton wanted us to, trying to go long to McBurney, trying to hit the big ball over the top, and it just wasn't coming off. So we were trying to get a foot on the ball now. We're coming into the game. We finally have a shot after 13 minutes, but it is nothing to write home about. It's Justin Jai as a shot, gets blocked, but he was our main threat tonight. He's the one who is coming short. He's picking it up. He's dynamic, looking for movement. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This season, he is our main player. He's the one who makes me most excited. He's the one who I always want to be in the team. And he's just great to see, even on nights like tonight when we've really struggled. His dynamism is so important. And you really see him just sort of mixing it up and coming into the game. And as I say, when we're trying to get our first shots on target, of course, it's him who's there trying to create those chances, trying to have those shots. After that, you know, again, United are just trying to create pressure with just no threat. We've got a lot of the ball, but we're not really creating. And the next big chance falls to Luton. And this became a bit of a running theme. They're getting the ball on their right wing in behind Max Lowe. They're delivering it to the far post with a man who is free over at the back post to try and attack it with a pretty good opportunity to get a free header in on goal. This happened repeatedly, first half and second half. But this was the first real time we saw that. Comes to Adebayo, he gets his header all wrong. Unfortunately, we are getting away with it. Just after that, McAtee then gets booked. At this stage, he's had a bit of a shocker of a first half. You can see the frustration building in him, and he just gets such a silly yellow card. Lad runs past him, and as he's going, just grabs hold of him, pulls him down. Yellow card all day long. But again, it's just indicative of how we were playing at this point. You could see the frustration building in our team, building in our midfield, and in particular, building in McAtee. And I saw one of the comments that popped up, and this is the time to talk about it, because just after this, Carlton Morris and Norrington Davis are just wrestling each other. And I do not understand what this new high bar is for contact. We are seeing so many obvious fouls where, you know, we're all trained to say they've grabbed hold of each other, they're wrestling, it's clearly a foul. They just don't give it anymore. And I'm not quite sure I'm up to date on that. I'm sure we will get used to it, but not really got used to it yet. So as we're just coming towards the end of that first half, we've now settled into a rhythm of the game. United are trying to get on the ball, but are offering nothing. They're looking really dangerous on the counter. I think it's about the 25th minute. Sander Berger's got the ball, and he just gets robbed by Luke Freeman. Luke Freeman, by the way, who looked a new man. That's not the Luke Freeman that played for Sheffield United. They must have signed somebody else because he never played for us. But he looked really good first half. He was dynamic. He was running forward. He'd robbed Berger here, charges to the edge of our box, and nothing comes of it. But it's just another sign of that little bit of sloppiness that really did sum up United in that first half. And we really needed to try and get on top of it because they were starting to look good. And I think, if anything, as we were coming towards the end of the first half, we were a bit lucky not to go too down because there's another chance for Adebayo. Again, down their right, so down our left, in behind Max Lowe, crossing to the box. Think he's about 8 yards out, takes it first time on the volley, up and over the bar. Now, it's a difficult chance, and I don't think anybody's expecting him realistically to score. But we've got to be tighter. We've got to make sure he's not getting those opportunities and that it's not coming to him. So at half-time, quite frankly, we have not been great. We've had no shots on target. We've not really had any chances worth talking about. Midfield's been overrun, and we really needed changes. And Hecky recognised it, and Hecky did exactly what we needed. He made those changes. He took off McAtee. He brought on Doyle. He pushed Berger further forward, and you could see the impact as soon as the second half starts. We were just so fast out of the blocks. There was a moment, I think it's about 4 minutes into the half, 49 minutes, something like that. And Jai gets the ball on the edge of the box and does a beautiful, just an unbelievable turn to leave his man for dead. He's in on goal, and I'm practically off sofa. I'm like, he tries to square it across when probably he should shoot, but it's just a sign that we are now starting to be a little bit more in this game. It's the first time we've really got into their back line. We've got that sight of goal. We've at least had a chance that we could have had a decent shot, even if we've not quite pulled it off. And then we keep that pressure up. We have a corner, but don't quite create from it. We recycle the ball back into the box. McBurney's heading it down. There's a scramble with our keeper. McBurney's on it again. He's trying to keep it alive. Gets it to Njai. Blocked shot out for a corner. And that's when the goal comes. And it's a fantastic goal. I could watch this on repeat all night long. And to be honest, I might do yet, because it was just such a good finish. Corner in the box. They don't quite head it clear. I think it's Doyle heads it back in. Egan gets up in the middle to flick it on. And then McBurney, first time on the volley. Oh, it's just beautiful. It's fantastic technique. It's everything that was missing. The only things that were missing from his game on Saturday was that sort of killer instinct in front of goal. And tonight, that was the only real chance he got, and he took it perfectly. It was just brilliant. And I think that first 10 minutes after half time, just coming into the second half, that was United. That was us turning up, putting in a proper performance. We were really pushing onto them. We were going forwards. We were getting at them. And they just had not been able to adapt to that change in our midfield, that just slight new dynamic. Berger further forward. Doyle just a lot more comfortable receiving the ball, turning on it, trying to play. It was great to see. And to be honest, I really wanted at that point, I thought we were going to kick on. I thought, yes, this is the point now. We've equalised early in the half. Let's go for them. Let's have that siege. Let's really kick on. It didn't really come. Now, from this point on, it became back to that sort of scrappy game that we'd seen. We were starting to be a little bit, they got back into it. They were pressing us again. They got to grips with that midfield. And it just became a little bit stop-start. We'd got injuries. So just after the goal, Wes had gone down, which is a massive concern. You're thinking, oh, God, what's wrong with Wes? I've seen some of the comments flicking up, and obviously we saw it in the game. I think it is just sickness. But you could see that was affecting him from the minute we scored until sort of 20 minutes later when it is that he finally goes off. And so you're immediately from the goal thinking, I want us to kick on, but this is a concern. Let's make sure Wes is all right. Let's make sure that we can still keep our control. And then Luton have another one of those chances that I was talking about. They get in down the right, in behind Max Lowe, cross to the back post. And this time, I think it's Amari Bell who's in. Their wing backs come charging at the back stick, unmarked, free effort, and he puts it wide. In this one, I think Baldock just about does enough to put him off. He's got there ahead of him. He's there to make the contact, but Baldock's falling and he puts him off, which probably means he puts it wide. But it's exactly the same issue time and time again that happened tonight. They were in down behind one wing back, crossing it to a space behind the other wing back. We've got to watch out for that, particularly in these away games. We've got to be steady, got to be organised, got to make sure we're not giving up those silly little mistakes. We then had Ollie Norwood having an absolute fizzer of an effort on goal. Now, Ollie Norwood somehow in the last couple of weeks has learned how to shoot. He's just somehow learned how to shoot. He hit an absolute perler against Sunderland and their keepers made a great save. He's then scored a fantastic goal against Blackburn and had another couple of efforts. And then tonight, we've done some nice play, just battling, trying to win tackles. And Jai, again, chasing his defender, chasing the ball down, not letting it go dead. Baldock then does the same into the box, lays it back, and Norwood catches it beautifully, right-footed, curling towards the near post and just over the bar. But it felt like a really good effort. And it's just another one that sees that confidence starting to flow in him. And maybe starting to flow in the team, because there were a few later on where having efforts from distance. One of the things that's always annoyed me is we do not shoot enough. And we were learning to shoot. We are having more and more efforts. Doyle had one, Brewster had one, Norwood had one. That's what we want to see. And I think that'll get us some goals. But from that point on, so 75 minutes, Luton do some subs. Wes then goes down again, and we have to do a sub. And then very little happens to the end of the game. It's sort of substitutions, it's stoppages, substitutions, more stoppages. You get towards that 90-minute mark. We're ticking on towards the end of the game. You're thinking, okay, this one's just going to run it down. And then Luton had another semi-decent chance in down behind the left back, cross to the back post. Their lad takes a touch this time and the chance doesn't come. But again, heart in mouth moment. But realistically, nothing else really happened from there. They had one shot on target, which I've seen a misser get a lot of credit for saving. Personally, I think the pressure that he's had to come on in, big game like this, a difficult one away from home, him making any save, he did a really good claim as well where he came out up high, caught it, just gives you that confidence in him. But this was a fairly straightforward save, I think, that you'd expect him to make. And that took us through to full time. And so a decent point in the end. I do think that Luton were probably the better team, but not by much. I think a draw is a fair reflection, and I'm quite happy with it, in all honesty. I think, given our form, given how the game went, we'll take that, and we'll definitely take a goal for Ollie Mack. So, individual players, I like to think I've shouted out most of the ones who were really impressed me today. You know, I've also shouted out the ones who maybe didn't impress me quite so much. I think that Njai was dynamic. I think that if we were going to create, if we were looking to sort of link play up front, he's the one who's going to make that happen. I think him and McBurney could be a really promising partnership. I think McBurney has looked a different player, really, these last sort of 2 or 3 games. He's getting involved. He's winning his headers. We're starting to play it short a little bit more. We're not just always hitting him in the air. We're letting him play to feet, which is what he's good at. And I think that does make a real difference to how we play, but also to how he plays. That is huge. Seeing Doyle in the team is great. He impressed me a lot. I want to see more of him. And on the other side, maybe want to see a little bit of a rest for McAtee while we get used to his role in our system. And so, after a decent performance, a decent point, we'll come to some of your comments, see what you've been saying to us, and see what you've made of the game today. That's a good point, Anthony, to be honest. I think disappointed with the draw. I'm greedy as well. I really want us to win. I'm sat watching games and I'm thinking, yeah, let's have this one. But away from home in a difficult game, Friday night, I think getting a point is key. I think my rule has always been for promotion. Draw away, win at home. You average 2 points a game. That gets you promoted every season going. Every season going. So any game that you're away from home, if we're getting a point, I will take it, even if I might be a smidgen disappointed from time to time. Will, interesting point on the ref. I think I've seen a few comments coming up saying the same. Personally, didn't think he was that bad today. I thought, rather than being biased, I thought he just reffed it the way he did. So if McBurney was wrestling, if Carlton Morris was wrestling, if they were being wrestled against, he just wasn't giving those kind of fouls. It's just refereeing this season, I've noticed quite a lot, is very different to what I'm expecting. Like, I'm seeing wrestling, I'm seeing shirt pulls, I'm seeing climbing, and you expect to see a foul for that. You're so trained, we've seen it for years, and they seem to have changed it. They are not giving anywhere near as much as before, and it's so frustrating to watch, and it gives you that attitude of like, wait a minute, why are you not giving us that? It's obviously a foul. On some of my notes I've written, obvious foul on McBurney, obvious foul on McBurney. But I think it's just that they're just not giving him rather than a bias any way, shape or form. Radio 10, I completely agree regarding Sander Berge. I don't think today was his best game, but I think there are mitigating circumstances. I think you're right about it not being his kind of game. I think when they're getting physical and when they're really going to press up against him, that doesn't suit his style. But I think the way that we structured with McAtee in, making him play deep, we know he can't play deep. He's a fantastic footballer going forwards, head down, charging at defenders. And when we play him in the 2 next to Norwood or next to Fleck or however that works out, it's just not really working for him. I think we really need to find a way that if McAtee is going to play, we need to find a way of having Berge up with him rather than having Berge deeper. Just takes all his effectiveness out, and it just means that he's not able to affect the game the way that we want him to. Ollie McBurney, another shout out, a very, very deserved one. I'm so happy that he scored. Honestly, I were at my seat, scared me dog. my wife were in Bath, and I think I scared her as well. But yeah, brilliant to see. And I thought, I just want to see him scoring goals. Maybe he's playing for his contract. You know, we know it's up at the end of this year, but he's doing really well. And like you say, Nick just couldn't face it. That he was supposed to be here tonight, and he was just like, no, McBurney scored, not for me. Of course, that's not the case. We had planned this well in advance, but it's just ironic timing, of course, that McBurney just happens to hit the high marks when Nick's not here. Maybe we need to have Nick here less, and then we can see McBurney be a goal machine once again. Interesting point, Tony. You know, I think I've reflected as I've been talking there that I think Luton were the better team. I don't think we were lucky to get a draw. I think a draw was a fair result. I think probably if you had a better striker than Adebayo, who's missed chance after chance tonight, maybe you'd have had somebody clinical. Maybe you would have won it. But I think ultimately they didn't really deserve it. And I think a draw was a fair result ultimately. Interesting point. I didn't think it was a dreadful game. I thought quality-wise it wasn't great, but I thought it was really entertaining. And it was one that I enjoyed watching, even if it probably wasn't very high quality in terms of the play that you were seeing, or similar like last week against Blackburn was incredible game. That was a brilliant game of football because of how good we were. We were playing football, we were getting it down, creating chances and creating overloads. Whereas today, we couldn't do that. And it made it a very different game. It was more of a battle, maybe more of a different style of game, but still one that I enjoyed. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching us score, and I enjoyed watching us get a point. I wish it had been a little bit more, but I think given today and how it went, we will take it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. I am going to call it a day there. I'm going to take the point. I'm going to enjoy my weekend, and hopefully we'll see results go our way, and we'll still be top of the league when we talk again next week. Thank you very much, everyone.